Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Friday night of stamping. My name is Sarah Simon, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Appleton, Wisconsin. And we have dug out of our snowstorm. Holy cow. I think I mentioned last week that we were forecasted to get a little bit of snow, and boy, did we get the snow. I did not get out of my pajamas on Sunday. Everything was canceled for me. And then Monday, we didn't have to go into work. I still didn't get shoveled out of my driveway until about 5 o'clock at night on Monday night. I did go into work for a part of the day on Tuesday. But now today it was 55 degrees almost when I went to the airport to pick up my parents. And a lot of the stuff has melted, which is nice. But I'm happy to be with you. I'm sorry about last night. I thought my appointment with Lila was at 4:30. I'm like, I'll leave work about 2. I'll get everything set up and go. I know that I'm going to be getting in at the last minute. Well, I didn't get out of work because we're planning for a retreat for our First Communion kids. It's tomorrow starting at 9 o'clock. And so, believe it or not, this probably has to be about the first time that I've had a big event like this, that the night before I really don't have anything that I have to do to get ready for tomorrow. I hope that's not a bad sign. I hope it's a good sign because normally it's like, oh, we got to do this and I've got to do that yet. And even with having a couple of snow days, Danny and I still pulled it together. We are at a little bit of a disadvantage because they're using part of the space that we have for a father daughter dance tonight. And so hopefully they have everything cleaned up. And we couldn't set it up for tomorrow morning. So we've got to go in early in the morning to set it up, but that's minor. So anyway, thank you all for joining me on a Friday night. Holy cow, we've got 21 people on here, which is amazing for a Friday. Oh, Lisa, I'm glad you got your package from your win last week. That's awesome. Last week, let me do my happy mail. Last week, I had a card buffet on Friday night and Saturday before all the snow came. And one of the ladies on my team, Donna, gave me this cute card. Look at this. Isn't that fun? And if you look at it from the back, it looks like that. She's got the back or the front. So cool. I did one of these a long time ago. It has been a while since I did one of those, but thank you so much, Donna. Denise broke out the Girl Scout cookies to watch me stamp. Well, I feel like that is awesome. For me, it would be, I would pull out the Skinny Pop. I love Skinny Pop, and I would probably eat a whole bag of it. So last week we did a one sheet wonder, and we made all of these cards from our one sheet of designer paper, 2 of each one of these. I'm just showing you one of them. I did, whoops, there's 2 of that one. There should be 5 total. There we go. 5 total. I did post a link on my Facebook page. I'm trying to think if I put the link in my YouTube video. I'll double check that afterwards. I don't remember doing that. So I will make sure that I do that if you're not on Facebook so you can find it on YouTube. So anyway, that was the one sheet wonder. I did go back and I did put something on the inside of all of them so they didn't look quite so empty. And I'm planning to use some of these as gifts. So I'm thinking my sister-in-law would really like these for Mother's Day. And so I'm going to make a little box with a little tag that says Happy Mother's Day on it and give her these, and they all kind of match, which is pretty cool. Couple of things that are going on. As a reminder, our product of the month is still going on. So, well, it'll be every month. This is the stamp set that is for the month of March. However, I have not heard that any of the other product of the months are completely sold out. So you could still get those if you wanted to instead of this one. It's when you purchase $75, you can get this for $5. You can only get one of each product of the month. So you can only get one stamp set. You can only get one pack of paper. The paper is the one that's kind of like, I'd like to get a couple, right? And then the other thing I have on here is my creative challenge for the month of March is that center, I think it's called a diamond fold. It's kind of like a pillar, diamond pillar fold, center diamond pillar fold, or something like that. I don't remember the name. If you would like to enter this, I told you that next Tuesday I would do the drawing because next week I can't go on Thursday again because I'll be leaving that day for Arizona to go to a 1-year-old birthday party for my great niece in Arizona for the weekend. And then I was like, oh, I'll have to do it on that Tuesday because then the next week it'll be April already. However, the Thursday after is Holy Thursday, and I have to read at our Mass that night. So I'm going to have to move it till Tuesday again. So 2 weeks in a row, it's going to be on Tuesday. And so that is still in March. So that will give you an extra week to create a card if you would like to enter that drawing. So that's what the card looks like. The dimensions are there. You can find this on my Facebook page. You could also find it on my, let's see, the video is in YouTube from when I did it. It's the last day in February that I had a live is where I demonstrated this. And I did not make the card that's on the right. That actually Marge is on here. She just said hello to everyone. Marge had gifted me that, and that was, or given that to me as a thank you. And I copied her design and made the card that is on the left. Now, for me, it's the right and the left. I think it is for you too. I don't know, because sometimes things are backwards on here. So anyway, that is coming up soon. All right, I think that's all I have. Yep, I don't have any other things to share with you on that. Demonstrators were able to, look at the new catalog online. So I better be careful. You can't see what's in here yet. This is what the cover looks like. So I printed mine, and God bless Kathy Miller. I don't know if she's on here, but she did go to OnStage. I could not because I had class on Wednesday of last week. And I was supposed to have class on Sunday, religion class, which ended up getting canceled because of the snowstorm. And I would not have gotten back in if I had flown into Appleton. Kathy got back into Milwaukee, but then she was stranded in Milwaukee for a couple of days and didn't get home until Tuesday. That would have been a nightmare for me. First of all, I have my dog. And secondly, I had work and to get ready for classes on Wednesday and a retreat this weekend. So anyway, I was able to see this, but because she went to the event, they had a couple of items that they had on a list that they could order ahead of time. And I said to her, if by chance you can order a bundle and you can order the stamp set and the dies not bundled, I would be willing to pay that extra 10% to get my hands on some of the stuff a little bit early to play. And so she did that, and she told me her stuff came today. So tomorrow after my retreat, I'm going to swing by her house and pick some of that up. So next week I can maybe even show you some of the stuff. I can't open the catalog and show you pictures of things, but if I physically have the things, I can show them to you. So that's kind of exciting. Also, the new ink pads are going to be in the in colors. And I don't know how many people heard it, but Stampin' Up! Is also coming up with a new black. So we currently have the Memento, and we have the, dropping things here, and we have the StazOn. And people are always like, I never know when I'm supposed to use which ones. Memento, we always use when we use alcohol, so blends. If you're going to be stamping, this is more of a permanent one. So if you're going to be watercoloring, you would use StazOn. If you were going to be stamping on something like acetate or window sheets, you would use the StazOn. Well, now they're coming out with a hybrid stamp pad, and it's in the magnetic top, so you don't have to flip it. So if you're one of those people that maybe you have arthritis or you can never figure out how to open up our stamp pads, the magnetic pad comes off the top, and you can use it for both. It's a hybrid that can be used for both, which is kind of exciting. I can't wait to see how it stamps. You know what I mean? I love I love taking our memento and putting it on our foam pad. I love how that stamps an image. I'm not a big fan of memento. So we'll see how it ends up stamping. Also coming out in May are going to be some online exclusives. I think I can show you this front page. I'll go even a little closer so you can see the little things on there. Yep, those look like little Pooh Bear and Donkey and the kangaroo and all of the little Pooh people, Tigger, and Piglet. Um, they're not exactly Pooh, but they look pretty darn close. I don't think it's anything that's copyright. I have no idea. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be in a suite of products for our online exclusives. So when can you get those? Starting on May 3rd. Hello, Sherry from Australia. Good morning to you. Um, Starting on May 3rd, they will be available for you to order. Our new catalog, again, it's not an annual catalog. We will be having 3 catalogs a year. They are 87 pages. And I can tell you that there are some things in here that are carried over from the last catalog. All of the papers are listed, like people like. All of the gems are listed in the back. So it's not like you have to go finding them. And then also they show like a whole suite of products, but then in the back where they have the bundles, they show you where the bundles are and they show you where the stamp set is and stuff. So it's pretty nice. And there's lots of pictures of cards, which I like that. So that is coming. If you do not have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, let me know and I will make sure you get one of those. I'm just starting to fill out and send anyone who's placed an order with me in the last 6 months. I automatically send one to you. Actually, last time I tried to send them myself, and that just took a lot of time. So I'm just going to pay Stampin' Up! To send them to you this time. So if you've placed an order with me in the last 6 months, you will automatically be added to my list. If you haven't, and you know you're going to want a catalog, please send me an email. Or the other thing you could do is you could go on to my Stampin' Up! Webpage. And if you just search for a demonstrator and look for me, one of the things is you can opt in to get my mailings and stuff like that. And if you do that, I will know, oh, they must want a catalog, especially if you do it right now. So I will make sure that you get those in the mail. A couple of you I know haven't placed orders in the last 6 months, but you always get catalogs from me. I will still continue to send you those. So don't worry about that. I think that is about, oh, May 5th. Thanks, Gian. I don't know why I have the 3rd. Was it March 3rd? Maybe it was March 3rd when all of the stuff changed over. Yes, I think it was. I think it was March 3rd. So I think I'm getting that. Or maybe it's April 3rd. I don't remember. But one of them, it was on the 3rd, and I had that in my head. You are right. It is the 5th. So thank you for correcting me on that. Hi, Kathy. All right. Let's see. I think we're ready to stamp. Are you ready to stamp? I'm ready to stamp. Let me switch things around here. Whew, look at that. Nice and easy. I'm going to get my keyboard out of here to give myself some room. So I think it was maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago, someone asked me if I could possibly show how to use this washi tape. Okay, this is I think it's called Greenery Lane washi tape. And they're like, what are we supposed to do with that? And so I have a couple of ideas. We're going to make only one card, and then I'm going to show you some swaps that use some other ways to use it. And then, so this card that I'm doing is super, super simple. So I am at the point right now where I'm almost at the end. Yep, Gian said March was the 3rd. I am at the end of my faith development for the year. And so I have a lot of thank you cards that I have to get out to people, all of my catechists, people who have helped with different things in our program over the years. I want to, over this first year of mine and this new job, I want to give them all thank you cards. And I love to make thank you cards instead of buying them. There's a whole drawer of them that the person who was there before me actually had that I could probably use, but I can't write in those. I have to make them. So I want to come up with something that'll be super easy, super quick. And this card that I came up with is beautiful. I think it's beautiful, but it's also very quick. And so this is, okay, here it is. Like, look at how quick that is. I have a card base that's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. And I have an embossed layer that's 4 by 5.25. That's about it. I also have a scrap of white, and this is 3.5 inches wide, and we're going to put our washi tape on that because this is 3.5 inches wide. So I just cut this. Doesn't matter how long it is. If you only need a little bit, you could make this a little bit shorter. I'm just going to show you what I did with that. I decided to do white on white. I watch Susan Campfield a lot, and I am not a person, I love color, and I usually like really bright colors too. So white on white for me is something that I don't do very often, but I always look at her cards when they're done, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is beautiful. I love the white on white. So I decided we're going to do white on white today. So I used that, what is it called again? And I don't think I brought it. Oh, I did bring it over here so I wouldn't forget. Paradise Garden. This is that hybrid embossing folder that I used last week with that suite of products that I used last week. Isn't that beautiful? And if you look at this washi tape, it really does go really nicely with this embossing folder. So I've got white on white there. I did take the dies. So the bundle that goes along with this is called Greenery Lane, and there's stamps. There are also dies. These dies cut out the stamped images. They have a couple of, this one's a standalone die, which we're going to use that, but they also cut out the images that are on the washi tape. Okay, so this one right here cuts out that right there. Let me see if I pull this out. Let me just put it on the white, which is what I'm going to do. So if you want to cut these out, oh, why am I blurry? There we go. If you want to cut these out and use them, which is what we're going to do, you don't want to really put the washi tape on your plate like this. So what you're going to do is you're going to adhere it or put it down on some, I'm doing it on basic white. You can really put another color if you want underneath it. I'm not doing a very good job of this, but I'm going to go ahead and smooth out these little bubbles after I have them. Usually I would have done that a little more carefully, but I'm here in a live video. I'm going to flip this over. Now our other washi tape that we had that was kind of like this, it had like a perforated place for you to break it off. And they had one die that cut out everything that was on here. This one is a little bit different than that. So we've got a couple of different shades of green going on in here. We've got some Lost Lagoon and Garden Green, and I think there was some shaded spruce in there too. Okay, so if we look at these dies, what we can do now is this one would cut out that, and that one, and that one. Okay, you just have to cut them a couple of times. This one will cut out anything that looks like that. So that right there, this one down here, this one right here cuts out anything that looks like that. So that one, and that one, and that one. And then this one right here cuts out that one right there. Okay, so you can cut them out like that and use them. And that's what I'm going to do tonight in my card. You can also cut out these flowers that are in here. Okay, so there's a little flower, two little flowers. You could cut those out as well. Oh, Mary just made a sympathy card with this washi tape today. Yeah, it's so easy to use. Now I'm going to show you a couple of other things that people did. So see how this is on this paper? You could just use this as your designer paper if you wanted to. So here is a card that I got in a swap. This is from Sherry Hunt, who's located in Ohio. And what she did here is she added it to some very vanilla instead of basic white. And she just layered it. She cut it after she put it on here. She cut it to the size that she needed. And she used that as her designer paper. Okay. You could put like something that has a little bit of a color, like if you wanted it to have like a pink background with all of those green things, you could take like our petal pink, and you could cut that paper and you could put it over, and then you would have like a pink background with all of these things on it. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with the washi tape, like use it into as a designer paper, or you can cut it out, which I'm doing, and using it on my card that way. Okay, I have this stamp set here because I said I wanted a thank you card, right? I wanted to make a whole bunch of thank you cards. However, I didn't really like this thank you for what I was looking to do with this card because it was long and I needed something that was kind of on top of each other. So the card that I made with this, that was a thank you, I used, this was one of our stamp sets that was a product of the month. Not this last week, not this last month in February, but oops, I dropped this. I got a spot here of cloud cover that fell. It was 2 months ago, so it was in February. So I made a card with that. For the sake of this, to use what we have in here, I'm going to use Here For You and Love and Hugs for this card. And we're only going to use this stamp for the inside. I'm not going to use any of these other stamps in this one tonight. But I'm going to show you a card that I had in my card buffet that used some of those so you can see what you can do with them. All right, so here is this. I did take some white and gold ribbon to put on this. I did cut out that one die in gold just to put a little pop of gold on there. And then I just took what I had left. So I had made one card and I had used some of the washi tape from there. And this is what I had left of what I had on my sheet that I had originally done. So I just went ahead and took these and I'm like, okay, we'll use those for this card. So that is there for that card. And then I wanted to do just a pop of some color on it. So I'm going to do my sentiment on a 1 7/8 inch circle punch. And so I just took one of the colors that were in there, and I love Lost Lagoon. I'm a Lost Lagoon. I love that color, especially with Pretty Peacock. So I just cut that out in 2 inch, and that's just going to be my little pop of color on all of my white. I felt like it just needed a little bit of something. And all I'm going to do is kind of layer these fun pieces so that they're going to be underneath here. So we'll go ahead and start with that big one. And then we'll kind of put this in here. And we'll kind of put that up here. We'll kind of cover where they overlap with where our greeting is going to be. And then we'll just take this little one and probably just pump it right in down there. Look at how easy that is and how pretty that ends up being. And then we'll just throw our bow somewhere in here. So let's stamp and then let's put this super easy card together. All right, so I did take, here's some Lost Lagoon ink. And I hope this greeting fits on here. I didn't, yeah, Kathy, great sentiments. I didn't test this one because the sample I made was thank you because I need thank you cards. So I'm going to do Here For You. Oh, yeah, it fits. Here For You. And then on the inside, I don't want to lose any of this stuff. So let me layer that up there. Okay, on the inside, we will put the Love and Hugs, because obviously I'm sending this card for someone who's maybe going through a difficult time, and I'm telling them I'm here for them. Okay, so Love and Hugs. Love it. And then let's bring this in here. Let's take that outline of one of those greeneries and just stamp it kind of down in the corner here. And then we have the fill two-step stamping. I'm just going to stamp off real quick. I'm not going to press it down. I still want it to be kind of dark. And the stamp is designed to stamp it a little bit lighter, but there is our inside. Now, if you're afraid to stamp on the inside of a white because you're afraid I might mess that up, cut another piece that's 4 by 5 1/4 or 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and you can always put it over the top of this if you want. You don't have to stamp on that. I'm just going to stamp right on there and try it. And there we go. Mary said, here it is. Oh, I bet she's sharing us a picture. I don't know if you can share a picture on a live video or not, Mary. You might have to wait until after. I'm not positive on YouTube. I'm not sure if you can send a picture on YouTube in the comments. You can on Facebook, I think, but I think you're on YouTube, it looks like. All right, so here's our base. Let's go ahead and attach this right on there. So again, we're doing white on white, not something I normally do. I'm doing a little Susan Campfield inspired. She does a lot with white on white. And I always, when her cards are done, I'm like, that's so pretty. Why don't I ever do that? Why do I always feel like I have to have either a colored layer or a colored base? Oh, yay. Lisa said that Jayla finished 3rd in her relay. I can't believe they're running track. It must be indoor track because there's no way tracks would be cleared of all the snow right now. I mean, I know you can put it in trucks and get it away, but oh my goodness, that would be a lot to have to move away. All right, let's go ahead. And I'm just going to kind of dry fit this a little bit. So I had these kind of like this sticking off to the side here, and then this one kind of in the middle. I liked that. Let's go ahead and glue this right away. So congratulations to Jayla and her relay team. So there's just a little bit of that color by layering it. And then this is going to go like that. And then this is, and I'll put that up on dimensionals. And then this is just going to pop underneath there. And we can put this ribbon right about there. Does that look good? Jane just happened upon me. Oh, thank you. You're from Australia as well. Well, welcome. We've got another Sherry is here from Australia too. Good morning to you. She told us it was morning there. So I'm glad you found us. All right, I'm going to go ahead and glue this down with some liquid glue. Now, you could put adhesive sheets on here if you wanted to. You could also, if you do not trust yourself with liquid glue, you're afraid you're going to get it everywhere and you're going to get glue on the gold. Sometimes that happens to me too. You could also throw some glue dots in some of these bigger areas and use glue dots. So the type of adhesive you use is very like whatever you feel most comfortable with, I guess. This I'm going to pop up on a dimensional like that, right about there. And I think I'm going to put these on dimensionals too. I didn't in my sample. I put them down regular with regular glue, but I think I'm going to try it with dimensionals and see how it looks. Because I feel it just has to be raised a little bit from that gold piece, but that gold piece just shines. We'll still layer this underneath it like that. There we go. And then this is going to go right there. I like that. So we're going to put some dimensionals around the outside here. I don't want to put dimensionals where it's going to go on top of that. It's going to be uneven then. So I'm putting my dimensionals on my piece of this layer right here so that I don't accidentally, like if I put them on here, I might put it so it's on here and then this is going to be up really high and that's going to be really low. So it just works better to put them out on the same flat surface so I get them in the right spot where I want them. And then once I put it down, if I feel like, oh, I need a little bit more right here, which I do, I can add that afterwards just by pulling that up and sticking my dimensional right underneath there. Here for you. All right, let's just pop this on some liquid glue underneath there. So it goes right underneath. Now you could put more of this greenery on here. I didn't want to go too overboard. I just wanted that little bit of gold for that little bit of pop of gold color. Now I might want this a little bit over to cover up that gold a little bit over here. Let's do this. Maybe I won't be able to move it. I think it's okay. I can see a little bit of gold right there. Oh, spam risk. Stop calling me. And then I'm going to take a glue dot and we're going to put a glue dot on that bow and we'll just put it right there just to add a little bit more gold. Now this ribbon unfortunately is out of stock right now. It would, Amanda, it would make a really pretty wedding card. You could put like a congratulations or to the happy couple. We have that stamp, to the happy couple. The reason I chose to do a round thing here is because I'm going to show you some other things where they used other shapes, and I wanted to show you a shape that is round. I'll show you some of my other swap cards that I got or cards that I made. All right, and then we have our metallic gems, and my thank you didn't fill up as much of the circle, so I put some of those gems on the actual inside of the circle. But my here for you fills up a lot more of that. So I think if we put any of these on, it's going to be on the white part. So we'll put maybe one right up in there. And then I've got some small. So these are in gold, silver, copper. We'll put one right there. And maybe right down there. So we'll just kind of put them in like different areas where our greenery is just to add that little bit of sparkle. And that is our super easy first card using our washi tape, because I can't remember if it was Donna that asked me. Somebody put it in a comment and it was maybe about 4 weeks ago. And I did write it down, or at least I made a mental note of it. I thought I wrote it down somewhere too. I cleaned my stamp room on Sunday when I didn't get out of my pajamas. I got my laundry done, which I hadn't had done from when I was in Florida. And I got my stamp room completely organized. So, woohoo. All right, it did get a little bit messy with some projects that I had to work on. I wanted to finish all my birthday cards for the kids in our program. I make a birthday card for everyone in grades 1 through 11. So it's about, we've got 134 kids in grades 1 through 4. We've got 94 kids or 95 kids in 5th through 8th. We have 62 in 9th and 10th, and we have 36 in 11th grade. So that was a lot of cards to make over the year. We did either birthday or half birthday. And so I did get all of the rest of them that I need for the rest of the year done on Monday when I was off. So that was kind of a good thing to get done. So there we go. There is our first card. Here it is as a thank you. So you can kind of see the thank you was a little bit smaller. So I put the gems in the circle instead. I kind of like them intertwined with some of the greenery like that. It just adds a little bit of, I don't know what it adds, but I think it adds something. So this is going to be a thank you card that I give one of my volunteers. So that's card 1. Now, so I showed you this one already. This was from Sherry Hunt, I think I said. So let's go ahead and take it out of the plastic so I can show you the whole card. So she used garden green on hers, right? And so this is, again, on Very Vanilla. This is embossed. And then she used this as her DSP for her card. And then just stamped a little bit on the inside. Pretty card. And then I received this card in a swap from Lori Krause. And she used that, let me take this out of here so you can see. She used the lines embossing folder, but she put it on a diagonal. And see how she used the thank you, but it's kind of, the thank you was kind of hidden. So, and I think this was supposed to be up here. I think it maybe have fallen off because there's a little bit of glue right there. I think that's supposed to be right there, actually. Okay, so this was pretty. I really like this with the gray and stuff. But when Kathy and I got it, I said, I feel like it's just a little bit dark for me. So Kathy reworked it. Kathy's on here. And instead of the basic gray, she used smoky slate. And then there is garden green here that you can hardly see. She made it pop a little bit more by adding that layer of white in between there. And then used a different greeting. We used a different ribbon. And then these greenery things that I did out of gold, she cut those right from the garden green that was there. So this was Kathy's card that she made. We actually did this for one of our card buffets. So, and then when I was looking for cards for my card buffet for this past month, for the month of March, Kathy sent me an image of something that she saw online, and I took it and changed it a little bit. So I used their same color combination. So this is Lost Lagoon, and it's soft sea foam, and it's Secret Sea. And so I used all of their stamps to make my own background. So that's not the washi tape making a background. It's the stamps making a background. And then I used a happy birthday. I think they had like maybe the here for you and a circle or something. I used our arch dies, took a little bit of that Secret Sea ribbon and used, I love this stamp set. It's just a stamp set, doesn't come with any dies, but it has almost every occasion: birthday, anniversary, St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day, Easter. I mean, it had New Year's, it had a whole bunch of sentiments in there. And then it just has like the happy or different words that you can put with it. So, and this is embossed. On their card, they didn't have this embossed and they had like a different type of greeting. So I changed it up just a little bit. And this was in my last one. And then when I was doing the white on white, I really liked this. And so this is a different stamp set. This is not the same stamp set, but I looked at this with the white. And so I thought about putting this layer of Lost Lagoon in there like they did with the soft sea foam. But when I put it in there, I'm like, it kind of takes away from the classiness of the white on white. So I ended up going back to just the white on white. So, oh, this was the inside of one of, I think it was this card right there. All right, so there's our card number one, and a couple of different ideas of things that you could do with this bundle, or even just with the washi tape. Again, 3.5 inches wide, another spam risk. You can just go ahead and put it on however long a piece of paper you need and make it either a DSP or cut it out and use the images. And if you don't want to get the dies, you could fussy cut this out too. It really isn't hard to fussy cut it out. All right, so there is our card number one. I do have a third 3D bonus project for you today because you waited for me. I thought I think I told you, I thought Lila's vet appointment was at 4:30 and I was planning to get out of work early so that I could come home, get everything set up. Her vet is about a half an hour from my house, especially with traffic about that time of day. And so I'm like, okay, I'll leave work at, about 2. I'll get everything set up. I'll get her to the vet. I'll get home and then everything will be set up and ready to go. Well, we wanted to finish up things so we didn't leave one project in the middle of where we were. And so we finished that up. And by the time I finished it up, it was almost 4 o'clock. And it's like, okay, now by the time I get home, it's going to be 4:15. By the time I get her there, it's just going to be 4:45. It's probably going to take about an hour for her appointment. Then I have a half an hour home again. And so I just thought, I don't want to be rushed. We'll just move it to Friday. And look at that. We've got 41 people watching. 41 other people don't have anything else to do on a Friday than to stamp, right? So our next card is going to be a fun fold. It's going to be a diagonal joy fold. And so this is going to be an Easter card. and I'm going to feature, I don't know if anyone purchased this bundle or not, but with my current job that I had, I thought there's so many things that I could probably use this for. I loved this church. I think I showed you a different card with a church on it last week from a Christmas card that I had. And I was like, oh, if I don't have that church stamp set to make that card, maybe I could make it with something like this and we could make it really nice for Christmas. So this has dies to cut out the bush and the tree and the church. And then it has some clouds that you could put in there. And then it has these little, it has the cross that you can cut out if you want. And then it has these other little kind of like three-dimensional type bushes that you could do that you don't have to stamp. They just have like little cutouts in here that you can kind of pull out. So just a kind of a sleeper in the catalog. But like I said, with my job, I was like, oh, that's interesting. So let's see here. Okay, here are my layers. I also used my favorite embossing folder, which is Beautiful Pattern. Whoops. And it has, look at that pattern in there. It really is beautiful. Looks like it's embroidered or something. All right, so we're going to use Petal Pink. I saw a card, and I'm going to show you the card that I saw that Amy K, Stamp with Amy K, did a couple weeks ago, and that's where I got my inspiration for the card that I did in my card buffet. I don't like to do an exact card that somebody did on my lives because that's their products. I don't mind using it for like a card buffet and maybe mixing up a couple of things or changing. I added a couple of things to what she had done in hers, and I changed a different embossing folder and some different colors. But this is going to be very similar to that too, but it's in a completely different fold. So our card base is just a standard A2. So it is 8.5 by 5.5, and I already scored it at 4 1/4. But what we need to do is we need to cut from the upper score line up here on the left-hand side down to this lower right-hand side. So I'm going to bring my paper trimmer in here. I hope I don't, ooh, I'm pressing buttons with, there we go. I've got my keyboard that I set over there now too. Okay, so I'm going to, in my track on my, and I'm sorry about my ring light and the shadow that it makes on there, but I'm going to take this corner and I'm going to place it in the track that's on here. And then I'm going to move, I'm going to kind of hold my finger so that stays there. And then I'm going to take the little tip that's in the lower right corner and I'm going to put that in the track as well. Now, I don't like cutting from the bottom because sometimes that little corner catches and it tears. I like to, when I'm cutting a diagonal like this, start with my blade in the center and go up to the end and then go back down. Have you ever had it where you started here and all of a sudden that corner just keeps, it's like you're tearing it. So, oh, another person from Australia. Thank you for joining us. So there we go. That is the little piece that we have to cut off there. I'm going to keep this here. Then we have our Joyfold piece, which I put in the exact same color. And that is 3 inches by 8 inches. And I scored it at 4 inches. Okay, so that's going to be our little Joyfold. Remember we just did a Joyfold not too long ago. That was diagonal, not diagonal. It was landscape. And we had like a piece that came over here. We've done them this way where, you know, we've done a lot of different ones where we've had like a, I don't know, we've done them a lot of different ways. This is a diagonal one. Okay. Then my embossed inside, I did on crumb cake. And this is 4 by 5 1/4. And I embossed it with that beautiful pattern embossing folder. That fits right inside of there. And look at how that looks on that Petal Pink. I love crumb cake and Petal Pink together. Then we have a DSP layer that measures 4 by 5 1/4. And just like we cut this one, we have to cut from the upper left corner to the lower right corner again. So I'm going to bring my trimmer back in here, then I can get rid of it. So again, I'm going to line up. So I want my paper, you can kind of see the leaves go up this way. So I want the paper going that way. And I'm going to put the upper left-hand corner in the track, hold on to it so it doesn't come out of the track, and then move the lower right hand so that gets in the track. Bring my blade to the center so I don't tear it and go up and then come down. And there is my piece that I need for my card. Now, if you wanted to, there's different ways that you could make this. You could actually put this up here if you wanted to and have it split like that and then have this go on there. It's entirely up to you. I did not use this piece. I just used the bottom one and then put this on there. Okay. Then I have a mat of crumb cake for the inside and the outside. So I have 2 of these that measure 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. So that goes right there and it goes on the inside. And then I have a very vanilla, I'm sorry, I did do basic white. I was going to do very vanilla and I went back to basic white. And these measure 3 5/8 by 2 5/8. So they're just 1/8 of an inch smaller. Okay, one for the outside and one for the inside. So those are all of our pieces. I could use this for die cutting. I could trim some things here. If I wanted a little piece of this on the inside, I could trim that for the inside. I could also find a card where it does use it, this way so that I don't waste that. But I'm going to set it back here for right now because I don't need it in this card. All right, let's go ahead. I should have a scrap of white. How about we use this for our scrap of white? All right, let's do I'm going to do some blending first. So this is going to be on the top. And I'm going to I have a blending brush. I should have a blending brush. I do. That's my browns. So I have it marked that these are my browns that I use with my browns. And then I have a bigger one. And this one, I don't know where my blue thing went. I think I have it on a small one instead of this, but these are my blues. And I'm going to start with my blue and I'm going to use Balmy Blue. And I'm just going to make a sky background on this to put my church on. So I'm going to just get a little bit of it off. And you don't have to press down hard. Just lightly go over just so it's not completely white. Okay, so I'm just adding a little bit of color so it looks like I've got a sky to my church. All right, and then I'm going to come in and towards the bottom, because the church I'm going to color in some crumb cake blends, I'm going to use some crumb cake for the bottom. And again, this looks very similar to one that Amy Kay did. It's a different fold. I made it my own with the fold and a few different things that I changed with it than what she had. Okay, so you don't want to go too much where they overlap. Otherwise, sometimes it can muddy. It can make the colors very muddy. So I tried to keep as much of the brown on the bottom and the blue up on the top. Okay, on here, it barely fits. Our church and our Easter blessings barely fit. So we're going to have to go as far up to the top as we can. Aw, Amy said there's nothing she'd rather do on a Friday night than stamp. Me too. As long as I have everything done for my retreat, I'm happy to stamp. Because there's nothing on TV. Well, there's basketball this weekend, but my Badgers lost yesterday. Oh, goodness. Okay, so I'm going to go blessings up here. I'm going a little bit to the right so my Easter can come up on the top. I've got to save enough room for that. So I want to go as close to the top, but I want to save a little bit to type or to stamp the word Easter up there. And I've got to find that stamp. Here it is. I have to stand up so I can see. I got to get over the top of my camera. Okay, I went a little bit high because I could hardly see what I was doing, but you get the idea. It's there. All right, then I'm going to take some of our Memento ink and on my scrap, well, actually, let me keep the Calypso Coral out here. On the inside, I'm going to stamp a greeting, and this comes from Promises, Something in Promises. it's the stamp set that I love with like the sympathies and all of that. It says, peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you. Wouldn't Jesus say that when he rose from the dead? Yes. So I decided to stamp that on the inside, a scripture reference to go with my religious. I like religious Easter cards because I'm probably going to send, I have a couple of them that I made from my card buffet. And I have 3 aunts that are religious sisters and so are nuns. So I'm going to be sending these Easter cards to them. I just can't send an Easter bunny to them. it just doesn't fit because that's not really what we're celebrating on Easter, right? Okay, so here's my scrap. I am going to pull out the church and hopefully I have a big enough scrap here. I thought I had a scrap. Thought I put one in that envelope, but I don't see one. Whoa, this is really inked up. Let's see. Maybe we'll go ahead. Look at that blob that it left there. Hopefully it doesn't stamp that way. It's all right. Looks good. All right, then I have that little cross. And we're going to put the cross right over the door. And then I want 2 of these little bushes, one for either side of the church. And I want that big tree. I might not have enough space to put this, but we'll try. Oh, yeah, I do. Okay. So that's what I'm going to be stamping for my items that I'm going to be building my church on that front. And I'm going to keep this. I don't want that black to get all over anything. I'll set it down. All right. Through the magic of TV, I have all of this die cut out for you, so you don't have to wait for me to do that. So I have a church, and I have a tree, and I have bush 1, and here's bush 2. There we go. All right, so let's start with our tree and our bush because those are super easy. I'm going to start with the Mossy Meadow. And Stampin' Up's kind of, their artist has kind of told me where the accent should kind of be. So I just sort of take the dark Mossy Meadow and I kind of go over those little things that they already put there so that I know where I want to do my blending. And then I'm going to come back in with the light, and I'm going to start where those marks are and just sort of blend them out so that they don't look so linear, like it's a big line in there. So if I go over it with the light, it kind of pulls some of that ink out and blends it. That's why they're called blending brushes. They blend the colors together. So I'm able to have a couple of different colors in here in different shades, but then they blend together for me. So I don't have to be a really good artist. It does all the work for me. So I'm just coloring in this tree. Should probably look to see if I have any questions. Sometimes when I get coloring, I miss questions. Doesn't look like there are any. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with this bush. Again, I start where the different color is and start blending that. And sometimes when I'm blending, if I can, I like to use the brush tip instead of the bullet point tip, only because it blends a little bit better, I feel. So right now I have the brush tip. This is the bullet tip where it's a little bit more pointed. And sometimes when you have a smaller image, that's what you have to use because you can't use the brush tip. But if I'm really careful, and this is a newer Mossy Meadow blend. So nobody's had a chance to accidentally at one of my classes put the cover on the tip. That happens a lot. And I think I've probably done it too, where you go to put this on and you don't realize, like, when you go to put it on, you're pushing the tip and you're ruining your brush. So, okay, so we have the greens done. Then I'm going to bring in a dark crumb cake, and I'm going to do the trunk of the tree, which we're really not going to see much of, hardly at all, but I'll know that it's done. I'm going to do the trim of the front of the church here, and I'm going to do the trim in the door of the church in the dark. All right, I'm not doing any blending really. I'm just coloring that in. All right, then I'm going to come in with the light crumb cake. And I'm going to do this slanted roof part of the church. Don't know if it has a name. I think it's just the roof, right? Okay. And I'm going to leave most of the stuff white. I'm going to... No, I wasn't supposed to do that, but we'll do it now that I did it. It's going to be different than the one I did. That's right. I did color the steeple with the lighter. There we go. Crumb cake. There too, I could use the brush if I wanted to. And then I'm going to come down here and our little steps we're going to do in the crumb cake. That's why I did crumb cake along the bottom. And our little brick that's down here, we're doing in a crumb cake brick. All right, we're going to get a little light coming from our windows. Oh, thanks. I think that's Jean, right? We're going to use a little, I think this is Lemon Lolly. Nope, it's Light Daffodil Delight. I didn't know if it was Dark Lemon Lolly or Light Daffodil Delight, but it's Daffodil Delight. And I think that's supposed to be like a little light coming out of there too. Then to sparkle it up just a little bit, we're going to take a little Wink of Stella and get a little bit of glitter coming from those windows only. So that if they were like stained glass windows, they would kind of be sparkling, right? Or the sun shining on them would be sparkly. So we're going to do that. All right, so that's done. This is going to go back here kind of like that. And these are going to go kind of on either side of the church. Okay. Again, got that from Amy Kay. I loved what she did with it, and I copied that part of it and made it into my own type of card. All right, let's go ahead and put this together. So we're going to put our I like to put it right along the edge so that the edge doesn't pull up. I have turned into more of a Stampin' Seal person, but anytime I do embossed stuff, I still like to use the liquid glue. It gets in all those little nooks and crannies and it just stays down better. All right. And because this has a little tip in it, I'm also going to do this in liquid glue. I'll probably just do all of it in liquid glue since I started it with that. Someone asked me, why did you go back to the Stampin' Seal? I just feel, especially when I'm trying to mass produce a whole bunch of cards at once, that the Stampin' Seal is just a lot faster. I'm not having to shake to get the glue out of my bottle, and I just run it across really fast. Isn't that pretty? I love this designer paper. Just love it. It's my favorite. And you could really do any of the patterns. There's like a mossy meadow with a crumb cake, and there's a calypso coral. This has some calypso coral in too, but they have some that has more calypso coral. And you could do calypso coral with petal pink. There's a lot of different combination that you could use. There we go. Joan. Why did I say Jean? I don't know why I said that. I do have a Jean that watches me too, but thank you, Joan. I will try to remember that. I have someone that is on a committee to plan a women's retreat. Her name is Joan, so that's how I will remember. And she's always smiling, so that'll help me. Smiley J is Joan and not Jean. Okay, so I'm layering that on the crumb cake, and I'm going to do my inside on the crumb cake as well. I liked it better when YouTube lets your names be on there instead of kind of like what they do now. All right, let's go ahead and give that a good burnish. And we're going to give this a good burnish so it lays flat. And we're going to attach this to the center of our card. So I'm just trying to center it top, bottom, right, left. You really don't have to have this piece in there because when you lift this up, it'll just slide right in there for you if you have it centered. Okay. This is going to be our inside piece. So it's going to go right there. And this is going to be our outside piece. So this card really does go together pretty fast. See, this is why I don't like liquid glue. When you get towards the end of a bottle, shake, 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 shake to get your glue out. You waste more time shaking, getting your glue to come out. Now, granted, if I kept it upside down, I probably would, it would be a little bit better. Oh, it's so pretty. This we're going to put down with regular liquid glue. Want it about right there, I think. Let me look. Yep, that'll be good. Move it down a little bit. There we go. Then I'm going to put these on dimensionals. I know some people looked at this stamp set. A couple people said to me, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And I guess for me, I'm always looking for something, especially with my job. And I thought this would be something that I could use quite a bit. So anywho, that's why I ended up picking it up. And I loved this card that she made. And I just, like I said, I just redesigned it for me. So see why I had to make sure that that blessing was up high enough, because that steeple, I have this down to the edge of the pink and it goes still up to the wording there. All right. And then I'm just going to put a dimensional on this side of the church, and I'm going to put one on that side of the church. And we're just going to pop, I think this one I'm going to put behind it, just like the tree is behind it. Whoops, I just picked that up. I'm going to try to pop that underneath there. There we go. And then this one I think I'm going to do over the top. Like that. There we go. Easter blessings. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. So pretty. All right. And I did grab some pearls, or iridescent pearls. And I thought we could put a couple of them over, like maybe in this area, because there's a lot going on here, but not as much over there. So my thought was we could do like one like that, and then a tiny one next to it like that. And there is our Easter card. Aww. So flips up and flips open for our fun fold, which is called a diagonal joy fold. I'll put this here, so if you want to take a picture with the dimensions and the actual card, you can. The one that I made for my card buffet, that's pretty much almost identical to Amy Kay's. I added I added the gems. I also added some twine, and I think I used a different embossing folder than her. So this uses the Stone and Vines embossing folder, which is a new one. Uses the same DSP, but it just kind of goes off to the edges there. And then I wrapped some twine around it and tied that in a little bow on the side. And we used an everyday arch rather than, see, I shouldn't have colored that brown, but that's okay. It looks fine. So that is our 2 of the Easter blessings. This was one that I found almost identical to this online, and I just redid it and remade it so that it looks a little bit different in my version. All right, so that is our card number 2. Now I've got 2 of these made because I made one the other day when I was making them, so that now I have these 2, plus I have the ones that I did from my card buffet. I'm going to have cards to send to people for Easter, which is awesome. All right, thank you, Sue. And she wants to be me when she grows up. Well, I don't know about that, Becky. It is kind of fun to talk to all these people on video, even people that I've never met. I feel like I got to know people. So there is our card number 2. All right. Now, Marin, this is going to be, I think it's Marin. We're going to do something a little fun. And if your grandma wants to borrow these dies to help you make some of these, she can. Okay, so we're going to make a little 3D item that is an Easter basket. So this is going to be an Easter treat. Now, I'm going to make these for, I think, if I get enough time, for all of my catechists as a little Easter treat that I want to give to them on Wednesday. So this is what I'm going to be doing on Sunday. So I was looking around for somebody online to have dimensions, and I found one, but when I was thinking about what I wanted to put in, so I went to Meijer and was looking through their Easter candy. I had to get prizes for our first communion. Oh, it's Karen with an M. So Marin. Okay, I have it right. Okay. This was the size that they had. It ended up being 2 by 2. And I was looking at this, and then I held up one of the little basket cutouts that you can get. And I was like, okay, like if I put this down to the bottom, there's still so much room. And if I want to put this little Kit Kat in there, and then I want to put like a couple of these eggs in there, they don't stand up because it's just like too wide this way. If it was only half as wide, like if it went to, if I could put these eggs here and set this here and it was half as wide, it would hold it in there perfectly. So the dimension she had was 4 by 4 and score it at 1 inch. All right. So I know I'm going to have to keep like the 4, right? But I want it bigger than 1 inch. So I was looking at it going, I could probably go another 1/4 of an inch. So if there's a 1/4 of an inch on this side, and then there would be a 1/4 of an inch on this side, that means I would have to cut this instead of at 4 inches, I would have to cut it at 4.5. Okay. The other side was 4 before, and I want to take 1 inch off of that because it was 2 when we had it done. So instead of it being 4, I want it to be 3. And if I add that extra 1/2 inch, I have 3.5. So I started with a piece that was 3.5 by 4.5. And I wanted the height to be 1.25 inches. So I scored at 1.25 inch all the way around. I don't know if you can see those score lines. I'll go like this. Then you can probably see them a little better. So 4.25, and I don't think I did, I didn't do a dimensions for my box because this was like the last minute thing that I decided to do last night. So we look, this right here in the center is going to be our box, which is basically the same width, but it's only our same length, but only half of the width. All right, so let's go ahead and make our box. I'll leave my little treats here. And all I'm going to do when I make a box is you're going to cut up to the score line like that. We're going to cut up like that. And then to make it a little bit easier, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to notch out a little bit and make these almost like little tabs. I'm going to do that for each of these ones on the end on both sides. notch it, and we'll notch this one. It just makes it fold in just a little bit better. That's why we do the little notching. And I'm going to have to really watch it if I do make these for my catechist, because I'm going to have these little things all over my floor if I make that many of them. Okay, so now what you do is you're just going to put this together. This is going to go in like this. These are going to slide in like that. And we're going to have our little box that I can put my Easter bunny and my 2 eggs like that. It fit perfect. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue this. So I'm going to go ahead and put the glue on my tabs. And you can use tear and tape if you prefer tear and tape. Liquid glue gives you a little bit more leeway to wiggle a little bit. You could also use Stampin' Seal. I would probably use Stampin' Seal Plus though. All right, so I'm going to line up. This score line is going to go with this cut line. I'm going to line it right up and square it. Okay, and this score line is going to line up with that cut line. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to tuck these in. Got a little bit of glue on my fingers, but that's okay. Line that up and line that up. And I've got my little box that I can put my little bunny Kit Kat in and my little recess eggs, my favorite Easter candy. And because I'm going to be doing a little, I'm going to cut some of the little grass. I don't even have to put any grass in here. It'll stay in it just like that. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. We're going to work on our little baskets. So I wanted to put some color in these. I didn't want to leave them just plain. So I do have some yellow, pink, and blue. This is left over from when I cut it for a card that I just did for my card buffet. I have a little bow in there for one side. I did put you could do just one side if you wanted to. I did a bow for one side. I did the grass for both sides because you could see through on either side of the little bunny. And I did put the weaving through on both sides just in case somebody looks at the back. Now, one thing that I did find is really easy is if you take something like a toothpick and you push that through the basket like that, it makes putting the paper in a lot easier. Look at that. Okay, because your paper is really thin and your, what do you want to call that? A toothpick. Sounds like a toothpick. All right, it doesn't matter what order you put them in. Okay, I'm going to put this, slide that right in there. Okay, now my last one has to go the opposite way. So I got to take that toothpick out and I have to weave it in the opposite way. And that takes just a little bit of time because you did sort of pull your paper in one direction. But let me tell you, it's a lot easier putting the toothpick through than trying to get that paper and not tear your paper or tear the basket. So I'm going to go ahead and put that toothpick in. And the other color I want to use is blue. So I'm going to, whoops, I got to put this the right way. I'm going to slide that blue. I got to slide my toothpick up a little bit. So I have room to put the blue in. There we go. Once you get them in, you can adjust them and move them around, like if they have to go up or down or anything like that. See how hard it is to put that paper in if you don't have the toothpick in? I'm going to pull the toothpick out and then I can adjust them. So I want this up all the way to the top. The pink one I'm going to put all the way to the top. The yellow one I'm going to put all the way to the bottom. And then I'm going to try to center the blue one. Isn't that cute? Love it, love it, love it. All right, then we're going to put the next one in. Do the same thing. Take my toothpick first. Makes it a lot faster. We'll do my pink one. I saw somebody do this, and I can't even remember who I saw do it. And I was like, that's genius. Do you know how much I struggled to make all these little things go in when I didn't have the toothpick in? And then I forgot toothpicks at my card buffet last week. So then I ended up, I found little stir straws for coffee, and I ended up putting one of those in the bucket. And I said, use that. It works the same. It's a little bit longer, but it basically worked the same thing. You just want something that can kind of hold your paper open so that you can easily slide this paper through. Your other option would be to use a paper that's a little bit sturdier, like we do have some of our not glimmer. Yeah, is it glimmer? Shimmer? I think it's shimmer paper that's in these colors as well, and you could use that. Yeah, Sue, I know my mind was blown when I saw somebody do that. And then when I went and did it myself, I was like, why did I waste so much time? Because I was thinking, you know, oh, if I do this, the weaving is going to take forever for me to do. Maybe I just won't weave them because we do have some DSP that has like a little basket design. Thought maybe I'll just cut it out of that and then I won't have to weave it. But I really loved the weaving, so this makes it a little bit easier. And really, you would only have to do one side. You wouldn't have to do both sides. I'm going to put a little bit of grass or glue on the top here to add my grass. So that fits right in between the two handles, which is perfect. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And the reason I'm putting it on there, like I said, I can see it on the other side of the rabbit or the bunny, the Kit Kat. And that way I didn't feel like I had to put any of the, you know, Easter, the little crinkly paper that you usually put in baskets. Oh, thanks, Linda. Linda, I have your cards too. I'll try to get them in the mail tomorrow. I have them sitting here for you. All right, so we've got that. The one that's going to be in the front, I'm going to attach this little bow to. That's going to be my front. I'm just going to put a little glue. You could put a glue dot. Just kind of put that in the corner there. Isn't that cute? And then there is a stamp in that stamp set. Lila, I know you're here. She's shaking and she doesn't have an ear infection. She was just at the vet yesterday. He's like, her ears look really good. It's just a nervous thing that she does. I don't know why she does that, but she does shake often. Because she was shaking there and he goes, oh, I should check her ears. Maybe she's got an ear infection. I'm like, nope, it's just nerves. I can tell. So he looked and he's like, you're right. Her ears look really clean. They gave me something new because she did have a couple of ear infections. I'm just going to cut this into a banner. So I'm going to cut up. She's had quite a few ear infections. And so they gave me something new that has, I think it has like a steroid in it to help fight off the ear infections that she always gets. Okay, and then this is just going to pop right underneath here like that. So there's like a little, I'm going to put that on with a glue dot. I'm attaching this all right now because it's easier to do it right now than it is to do it once it's on the box. So I'm going to build the whole thing for you. I'll write down those dimensions for you too that I did for making my box. I feel like I didn't make it wide enough though this time. It's bulging just a little bit. My other one didn't bulge with those dimensions. So I maybe did some scoring or some cutting wrong somewhere, measuring. I'm putting the glue on my box so I know where it has to go. I'm going to take the stuff out of it for right now. I'm just going to line up along the bottom and press that down. And if you want, you can set it down. You can take your bone folder and you can just give that a really nice press. Oh, you know what I did, I think? I think I cut the other ends because these are overlapping a little bit in here. I think I cut the other ends last time with the last one that I made because those little flaps that I put in are kind of overlapping each other. And I think that's what happened. All right, so this, again, I'm going to stand it up, kind of eyeball it to be center. Then flip it on its side and get my bone folder in there and press that until it dries. There we go. Look at that. All right, and then I'm going to put my little bunny in, and then we're going to put an egg on either side. And now I have 2 of them done. Look at that. Isn't that cute? I do have some of these Pearls of Beauty, and it had a white little pearl. I thought that might look cute in the center of the bowl. So we'll grab take your pick tool, grab that, and stick that right in the center there. Now, if you wanted to, if you had more time, if I'm going to make these for my catechist, I do not have time. But you could, if you look at the stamp set, you could like stamp this bunny and color him and cut him out, and you could put him down here in the on your basket, or you could put some of these flowers. You could stamp those, color them, and put them kind of over here to add a little bit of extra. But I'm like, that's a pretty nice gift. It's a pretty good sized Kit Kat. It's not one of the really tiny Kit Kats. And then it's 2 of those recessed eggs. So I think that's a pretty good deal. And it's like almost the perfect fit that you don't have to put any grass in, but it looks like you have grass because you have the grass here and you have it on the back. So I thought those turned out kind of cute. I think my catechist would like those if I made them for them. So I'm not making them for the children, so I'm going to make them for my catechist, for the teachers. I have, let's see, 17, 18, 19, 20 in grades 1 through 4. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 5th through 8th. Those are the only ones that I'll see before Easter, so I would probably just do it for them. So yeah, so what did I say? That was 16, 17, 18, 19, and 12. So there'd be like 21 of them that I had to make. That's not too bad. I couldn't make them for all the kids. There's like 134 1st through 4th graders. And then there's another 90 some 5th through 8th graders. I would go absolutely insane doing that. Plus, I don't think I'd have enough paper ready to do that. So anyway, I thought I would share that little extra bonus treat with you. I worked on that last night because I was trying to figure out how I was going to make the little basket. So we've got our little basket, and I said I would write those dimensions down. Let me find a sheet of paper. I'll write them right on the back of here. So for the box, I did, here's a pen. I did 4.5 inches by 3.5 inches, and I scored at 1.25 inch on all sides. And my final box then is 2 inches by 1 inch. Okay, if you know what you want your final size, I don't know if you know how to do this, but if you know that this is the size box you want, so 2 by 1, and if you want the height to be 1.25 inches, whoops, 1.25 inch, if this is your height, to find out what you have to start your box at, you would take 2 is on one side. So if you look at your width, you've got 2 here and you've got 2 there. No, I'm sorry. 2 is that length, and you have 1.25 is that height, and then 1.25 is over here. So you add that. So that's where you get your 4.5. And then you have 1 inch, and you add your 1.25 and your 1.25, so that you have your half, your sides on either side. And that's where you get your 3.5. And then this is whatever height you want, that's what you score it at. Yes, I will definitely, I can put all of them together. Oh, all of my baskets when I have them all finished. Yeah, I can take a picture of all of the baskets when I have them finished. Let me write this a little better because I wrote all that extra stuff on there. So it's 4.5, 4.5 by 3.5, scored at 1.25 on all sides. And I won't write any of that other stuff down. So if you want to, you can take a picture of that. That's what the little box is to get that. Or I can stand it up this way, I suppose. There you go. So that's the little box in between. All right, so here's 2 of them. I got 2 done. I have them in a little bit different order. The colors are in a little bit different order, but isn't that fun? I thought about doing it for all the little First Community kids, but that was 78. I'm not doing that either. All right, so there's 2. So we've got this project. We have our washi tape project, which the dimensions are on that side, but you should have had those. And then we have our, whoa, what happened? Did I not glue this on here? Oh, this is not the one I made today. I was going to say, I know I glued that on it. There we go. That was my sample. I never glued the front on the other day when I made it. There we go. Those are our projects for tonight. Yay. And I'll be back in just a couple of days again. Let's see now. Where did my mouse go? I've got so much junk around here. I've got to clean up again. This is why it's hard to stay clean, because now I've got all the stuff that I pulled out all over here. I got to put it all away before I go crazy. Let's see here. There was my mouse. All right, I'm back. All right, so I'm going to be live on Tuesday of next week before I go to Arizona on Thursday, and I'll be doing the 2 projects. And then it'll be the next week, it'll be on Tuesday again. So Holy Week, it'll be on Tuesday again, because I have to be at Mass on Thursday. And on the second Tuesday, so on the 31st, I will be picking the winner of our creative challenge. So, and again, if you're new, if you submit something for a creative challenge, I put your name into a drawing. I draw it live on the 31st when I do my live. And the person who wins gets $30 in Stampin' Rewards gifted to them. So I just send that over to you so that you can pick out whatever you want and order it whenever you want. So if you want to wait until May 5th, when you can get something from the new catalog, you can do that. So, all right. I volunteered to do individual table favors for my niece's wedding. Asked how many. Oh my goodness, you said you would do them. There's 300. Do you have some people to help you, Linda? Oh my goodness, that is a lot. I used to do weddings for people. I used to do like name places, and I would do their invitations, and I would do their programs, and sometimes they wanted signs matching, and sometimes it was stamped. Sometimes I just did it on the computer. But it took so much time. And sometimes they had little favors that they wanted me to do too. And it's like, oh, that is crazy. 300. Oh, good. I'm glad you have helpers. Gosh, that is a lot. God bless you for doing that for her. I have to do games and prizes for my nephew's fiance's shower because I'm his godmother. And I've got to get going on that. The shower's in May, so I've got a little bit of time. But I thought, and I've got to get a gift for everyone that comes. But we're talking like 30 some. We're not talking 300. So, oh, good luck with you on that. All right. I am off. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. Hope you can find some time to be creative. Thanks for joining me on a Friday and understanding that Lila's appointment came first. And I will see you just in a couple of days on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.